Good day everyone, my name is Hannah Baylon and I am the first presenter in our group, and our assigned topic is titled Chinese Literature. But first, let's read the definition of Chinese literature. Chinese literature has a rich history that spans several millennia, starting with the poetry, dynastic court poetry, and evolving to include the fictional novels of the Ming Dynasty, which were created to entertain the literate public. The development of woodblock printing during the Tang Dynasty and the invention of movable type printing in the Song Dynasty significantly contributed to the proliferation of written Chinese literature. So there so here I have included the three philosophers that is well known in the Chinese culture. First, we have Confucius, the founder of Confucianism, may be regarded as the founder of Chinese literature for during his years of teaching and wandering as an exile. He found time to rescue for posterity certain valuable literary fragments of great antiquity and to produce at least one original work of his own. Confucianism is primarily nagconcern sila sa moral nature of social relationship. Nag-emphasizes siya nga need to obey and respect people in positions of authority. So, at the same time, nag-stresses siya sa need sa tao in positions of authority to behave in a human righteous way. So, next is Taoism. It is more concerned with the relation of humanity to the larger world of nature. In the classical Taoist view, human beings are perceived as being merely one of the many manifestations of nature on an equal level with all other creatures. So, ang Taoist invented newer characters and legends, mixing fact and fiction to a degree where the worlds of myths and reality become indistinguishable. And lastly, we have Buddhism. Chinese enthusiastically accepted this because it preaches the golden rule and harmony of balance, brought by Indians, like with its doctrine of uh, of reincarnation and its message that people could overcome their suffering through self-discipline. So, dere, ginakuan na nila is, ang message aning Buddhism is ang mga tao kay maka-overcome sa ilang problema. Pinaagi sa pagdisiplina, meditation, and moral conduct, nagahatag siya new hope sa mga tao. It supplied Taoism with deities, mythology, and literature. So, kaning Taoism, ang Buddhism, gi-introduce ni siya sa sa China, no. Ang kaning Buddhism, gi-introduce sa mga Indians sa Chinese. So, many tales adapted from Indian mythology. Next slide. I have included here the 5 classics. So, let's first all read it. First one is Shu Jing, Book of History. Originally 100 in all. Covers a period extending from the 24th to 18th BC. Second one is Shi Jing, Book of Odes or Odes, was preserved by Confucius. It is a collection of rhyme, ballads in various meters, usually four words to a line. It is arranged under four heads. Third one is Aching, Book of Changes, consists of 64 essays. Fourth one, Lichi, Book of Rites, seems to be a compilation by two cousins known as the elder and younger Tai. And lastly is Chunshu, Spring and Autumn Annals, its chronological record of the chief events in the state of Lu between the years 722 to 484 BC. So, ang main thought sa five classics is that these ancient texts are foundational to Chinese literature and philosophy. They encompass historical records, poetic collections, philosophical essays, and ceremonial rites, reflecting to the cultural, intellectual, and historical legacy of China. So, um, so ang five classics no kay murag ginapagawas jud ang pagka kuan pagka maayo sa or pag-promote kung unsa ang naa sa Chinese literature. Dili lamang sa mga literary kundi pati na pud sa ilang sa ilang culture o ang history sa China. Next is we Chinese poetry. After the death of Confucius, there flourished a school of poets, noted for their passionate expression, irregular meter, allusiveness, and allegory. Chu Yuan, China's first known poet, there were some rhymes in early Chinese poetry before 600 AD. Lines varied in length but were usually only 4 or 5 syllables long. After 600 AD, the 7 syllable line was employed. The main thought of Chinese poetry is that after Confucius' death, Chinese poetry flourished with a new style. So dere nag-evolve na sila nya nag-characterize siya sa passionate expression, irregular meter, and allegory. Pero diri gina-evolve na nila ang poem. This period saw the emergence of Chu Yuan as China's first known poet and a significant evolution in poetic form, transitioning from variable line lengths to a standard 7 syllable line after 600 AD. Next is characteristic of Chinese poetry. It has the quality of brevity. A long poem does not appeal to the Chinese mind. The main thought here is that Chinese poetry is known for its succinct and concise nature. Long poems are generally less favored as brevity and the ability to convey deep meaning in few words are highly valued qualities in Chinese literary tradition. So, diri, ang ilang main focus is ang paghatag og message. Wala sila ga-focus sa kung unsa kataas ang imong poetry. Ang ila is ma-deliver, masabtan sa mga tao ang unsa ang naa sa imong poem. Last one, odes or odes are composed of 4 characters. They convey cryptic meaning. Dire, ang ilang gina-convey there is that in Chinese literature, odes or odes are typically very concise, consisting of only characters per line. Despite their brevity, these odes are crafted to carry deep, often cryptic meanings, reflecting the complexity and richness of Chinese poetic tradition. So, that's all my part. Uh, I am the I am once again I am Hannah A. Baylon, and thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something from me.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I will be discussing the four books and five classics under the Chinese literature. So, four books and five classics are authoritative important books associated with the Confucian, written before 300 BC. They are traditionally believed to have been either written, edited, or commented by Confucius or one of his disciples. Starting in Han Dynasty, they became the core of the Chinese classic on which students were tested in the imperial examination system. So the four books, Sishu, are Chinese classic texts illustrating the core values and beliefs in system and Confucianism. They were selected by intellectual Sushi in the Song Dynasty to serve as a general introduction to Confucian thought, and they were in the Ming and Qing dynasties made the core of the official curriculum of the civil service exam. So Sushi prescribe a specific order of the four books and five classics. And there he said that the four books must be read first before the five classics. And the first specific order of the four books is named the Great Learning. So the Great Learning is a guide for moral cultivation. And according to the Great Learning, the key to moral self-cultivation is learning, or the investigation of things. Through the investigation of the things, one comes to understand the principle in all things. It allows one better to comprehend the world. So, through this moral cultivation, one's principle and psychosocial are in harmony, guiding or leading consistent behavior. So, meaning the Great Learning simply told us or taught us that being a comprehensive person or being had a moral self-cultivation can lead to you in a harmony life. Next one is the Analects. The Analects was written during the spring and autumn period through the Wearing State period. The Analect is a collection of Kongsi teachings and discussion with disciples. So, the Analects is the Kongsi's discussion through his students or the disciples. Kongsi is if I'm not mistaken, is one also of the disciple of Confucius. So, the Analect emphasized the importance of good governance in filial piety, virtue, and ritual. So, the Analect emphasizes how important of the ritual and the good governance for us to live a life that is smooth and okay. One is Mencius. Mencius is a collection of conversation Mencius had with Kongsi. Mencius placed a strong emphasis on the responsibility of the emperor to practice good governance through following the way. Additionally, Mencius believed that all human beings are inherently good. So the Mencius part is all about the Mencius conversation had with Kongsi. So this Kongsi is their teacher or their mentors. Then Mencius is the disciples of Kongsi. So in their conversation, Mencius emphasize the responsibility of the emperor to practice good governance through the following way. Then he also believes that all humans are inherently good human being. So that's what Mencius said, and that's what Mencius believed. So the last one of the four books is the Doctrine of the Mean. So the Doctrine of the Mean has been translated in many ways, including the constant mean, leg, and maintaining perfect balance gardener. The Doctrine of the Mean is attributed to C.C. Kongsi's grandson and deals with how to maintain perfect balance and harmony in one's life. So the Doctrine of the Mean emphasized the fact that good governance rests with the mean. So also the Doctrine of the Mean was attributed to Kongsi's grandson. uh, and it states there that it is very important to maintain a perfect balance and harmony in one's life, and that text or that particular statement was attributed to Kongsi's grandson, which is CZ. Thank you. Now, to summarize, the four books teach us the pattern of Confucian way establishes the foundation of learning, observe development, and discovery of mystery of ancient China. That's what book meant for. However, the books act more as a moral guide for the readers or for the audiences of the book. And that's why China followed that, because if you really read the book, it seems like it is your guide or moral guide for you to how to balance about life. But that books is about learning and the discovery or the mysteries of ancient China. However, as you read, it seems like it is teaching you how to live a life which is balanced and morally and equally. That's all. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Hazel May Pagtulon-an, and I will be continuing the discussion of the four books and five classics. And I will be discussing the five classics. The five classics are five Greek and Chinese books that form part of the traditional Confucian canon. Several of the texts were already prominent by the Warring State period. Mencius, the leading Confucian scholar of the time, regarded the spring and autumn annals as being equally important as the semi-legendary chronicles of earlier periods. So next we have the Book of Documents, which is the first of the five classic. So the Book of Documents is a compilation of 58 chapters detailing the events of ancient China. The Book of Documents tells the deeds of the early sage kings Yao and Shun. These narratives are influential in the development of the understanding of sage. The compilation also include the history of the Xia, Shang, and Zhou dynasties. The Book of Documents is often considered the first narrative history of the ancient China. So the Book of Documents is a compilation of speeches, historical records, and political philosophies from ancient Chinese rules. The next we have Book of Odes. The Book of Odes is also translated as the Book of Songs or Book of Poetry. The Book of Odes is comprised of 300 poems, um, dealing with a range of issues including love and marriage, agricultural concerns, daily lives, and war. The Book of Odes contains different categories of poems, including folk songs and hymn used in sacrifice. Kongzi is believed to have selected the 300 poems in this collection for a much wider collection. So the Book of Odes is a collection of 305 poems and songs, ranging from folk ballads to hymns used in ceremonies. Next, we have the Book of Rites. The Book of Rites describes the social norms, governmental organization, and the ritual conduct during the Zhou dynasty, believed to have been compiled by Kongzi. The Book of Rites is the foundation of many ritual principles that arise in later imperial China. According to the Book of Rites, proper ritual conduct would maintain harmony in the empire as well as emphasize the virtue of piety. 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 So the Book of Rites is a detailed guide to rituals, social norms, and ceremonial practices essential to Confucian thought. Next, we have the Book of Changes. The Book of Changes contains a system of divination which is centered largely around the principles of yin and yang. The Book of Changes has also been translated as I Ching or classic of changes. Some of the divination practices are still used today. The Book of Changes is the divination of text based on system of hexagrams, offering wisdom on change of the balance of the opposite. Then last, we have spring, spring and autumn spring and autumn annals. As the longest of the five classics, the Spring and Autumn Annals is a historical chronicler of the state of Lu. Unlike the Book of Documents, the Spring and Autumn Annals appear to have been created specifically for analytic purposes. The Spring and Autumn Annals was traditionally understood as being written by Confucius, but modern scholars believe the text was actually written by the various chroniclers from the state of Lu. That would be all.
Hello everyone! Welcome to my video discussion on Philippines literature in English, focusing in the period of self-discovery. By the way, my name is Janice Tortuga from BSED English 3B. This presentation is part of our course EL113, which is Survey of Philippines Literature in English. I find this topic deeply inspiring because it reflects the Filipino journey of understanding identity amidst change. By the end of this video, I hope you will gain a deeper understanding of the context, themes, and significance of the works written during this period. We'll explore the authors, their works, and how these pieces connect to our present-day experience. In this video, I will discuss the historical context, prominent authors, and significant themes that define this period. Let's begin with the importance of self-discovery in literature. So why self-discovery is important in literature? Self-discovery is a universal theme in literature because it invites us to journey alongside characters, reflect on their struggles, and explore our own identities. So this process depends our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. So now I will discuss the overview of the period of self. So the period of self is a notable era in Philippines literature. During this time, Filipino writers used literature as a platform to reflect on their identities and adapt to cultural changes brought by American colonial influence. This era highlights the tension between preserving traditional Filipino values and embracing new ideals introduced by Western culture. So the first author is Luis G. Cato's Manila, a collection of verse in 1926. It is one of the earliest collection of Filipino poetry in English. It provides a glimpse into urban life under American rule, exploring themes of identity, cultural adaptation, and self-discovery. For example, in one of his poems, Dato writes, "Manila, where dreams are born and broken, where laughter mingles with the cries of men." So this line reflects the duality of urban life, both its promises and its challenges. So the next author is Marcelino de Gracia Concepcion, The Bamboo Flute in 1932. So it is celebrated for its romantic and socially conscious poetry. His works were influenced by Western poets like Edgar Allan Poe, yet they remain deeply rooted in Filipino experiences. His poems explore themes longing love and culture and cultural identity. So through his works, Concepcion highlights the emotional and spiritual journey of the Filipino people during his transformative period. So the next author is Aurelio S. Alvero's self-published collection Moon Shadow on the Water. So it emphasizes themes of love, identity, and pride in Filipino culture. So his poems intertwine personal emotions with national pride, capturing the Filipino journey toward self-discovery and acceptance of their cultural heritage. So now let us proceed to the themes in Filipino literature of self-discovery. So Filipino literature during this period revolves around personal growth, identity, love, and longing, and national consciousness. So the writers reflected their own struggles in navigating the changes brought by colonization and cultural translations. Next is the historical context and its impact on literature. So, the transition from Spanish to American colonial rule profoundly shaped Filipino literature. With the introduction of English as the medium of instruction, Filipino writers adapt Western literary styles while preserving their unique cultural expression. Next is post-colonial influence. Post-colonial influence and the tension between tradition and Western ideals create a fertile ground for exploring themes of identity and adaptation. So now let us proceed to the key words of the period. So now let's analyze specific works that exemplify the themes and challenges of the period of self. So the first is Luis de Dato's Manila, a collection of verse. So I Dato's poetry captured the complexities of urban life during the early 20th century under the American influence. So his work serves as a personal exploration and cultural critique of Manila's transformation. Next is Rafael Joluta da Costa's first leaves. So first leaves reflect themes of youth, nature, and the emotional impact of loss. So it represents a coming of age story set against societal changes. So the last is Manuel Argelos, How My Brother Leon Brought Home a Wife. So this story portrays cultural adaptation through Maria, who adjusts to rural life in the Philippines. So it highlights the clash between lifestyle and traditional while showing how individuals grow through transitions. So it reflects how individuals grow through this cultural transition and gain a deeper understanding of self and community. So that was the end of my topic. I hope you've gained valuable insight into the period of self in Philippines literature. This era shows how literature reflects personal journeys and cultural identity. So as we reflect on these works, let's ask ourselves, how can we use the lesson of self-discovery in literature to navigate our own lives? So thank you for joining me.
Good day everyone, I am Generally Faye Manila and my part for today is to discuss to you the literary analysis about The Wife Mourned for His Husband by Confucius. So first, let me read to you the poem about The Wife Mourns for His Husband. First, let's start. The delicious grows and cover the thorns, over the ways is the dragon plant creeping. The man of my heart is away and I mourn. What home have I, lonely and weeping? Covering the jujubes, the delicious grows, the grave many dragon plants cover. But where is the man on whose breast I repose? No home have I, having no lovers. Fear to see was the pillow of horn, and fear the bedchambers adorning. But the man of my heart is not here, and I mourn, all alone, and wait for the morning. While the long days of summer pass over my head, and long winter nights have their traces, I'm alone, till 100 of years shall have fled, and then I shall meet his embraces. Through the long winter nights I am burdened with fears, through the long summer days I am lonely. But when time shall have counted its hundreds of years, I then shall be his and his only. So, as what we heard about the story or about the poem, there are some confusing words that we need to understand. So, in analyzing and understanding, we need to know its denotation and connotation. So, denotation and connotation, first we need to know the meaning of denotation and connotation. So, denotation refers to the literary meaning of a word, while the connotation impasses the emotional and cultural association that word carries beyond its literary meaning. So, the word night, from denotative meaning, it's, it is literal, which means refers to the period of darkness. And the connotative meaning of the night invokes feeling of despair and emotional turmoil in the story. It symbolizes the darkness of the wife grief, representing her overwhelming sorrow and longing for her deceased husband. So the second word is alone. Its denotative meaning is separated from others. This describes a state of being by oneself without other present. And its connotative meaning is suggested isolation and loneliness. The wife's solitude highlighted her deep sense of loss, emphasizing that her emotional burden is compounded by the absence of her husband, making her feel disconnected from the world. The third word is thorn. The denotative meaning of thorn is a hard, sharp point on a plant, stem, or branch. This is a factual description that refers to a physical characteristic of a certain plant, while its connotative meaning is symbolize pain and hardship. It represents the challenges the wife faced in her mourning, illustrating that even cherished memories can carry bittersweet reminders of loss, where love is intertwined with sorrows. Next is its symbolism. We need to know its symbolism involve using symbols to represent ideas or concepts. So the first word summer symbolize freedom, happiness, endlessness, and self-development. Summer often evokes feeling of warmth, growth, and joy, representing a time when people can relax and explore their identities. Next is dragon plants. These symbolize perseverance and the pursuit of self-knowledge. The dragon plants may suggest resilience and the complexities of personal growth, indicating that the journey towards self-discovery can be challenging yet rewarding. So next is the figure of speech. Figure of speech enhances the expressive quality of writing. Assonance. This is the repetition of vowel sounds within close proximity. So example, what home have I, no home have I. The repetition of the O sounds create a musical quality while emphasizing the speaker's sense of loss and longing for a place of belongings. Next is the theme, are the underlining messages of or central ideas within a literary work. Love that endures even after death is the purest form of love. This stem suggested that true love transcending physical existence, highlighting the beliefs that love can persist beyond morality. True love does not forget but remain steadfast in memory and emotion. This emphasizes the genuine love is enduring and resilient, suggesting that even in death, the emotional connection and memories remain significant. And last is the implication of the title. The title reflects the deep emotion it depicted in the poem, emphasizing grief, love, and longing. It served as a lens through which readers can interpret the themes and emotional undertones represented in the work, guiding them to consider the complexities of love and loss, explaining this while referring to the wife mourned for his husband by Confucius. So that's all. Thank you.